You are now entering the Queenz Quarters. We are powerful, strong, and rulers in our own right. There's a queen in you, there's a queen in me. Every woman is a queen.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Queenz Quarters. We missed you. I know it's only been a week, but we missed you. We are so glad to be here with you on today. And as you can see, we have some guest panelists here with us. So today is going to be a magnificent show. So welcome on into the Queenz Quarters Experience. Now we're going to introduce ourselves, and then Queen T, we're going to hear from her for our tea of the day. And then it's going to come back to me. So just give us a moment. I'm Queen Queens, representing the 40s Club.
Hello, I'm Queen Emma, and I represent the 60s Club.
Hello, I'm Queen T, representing the 50s Club.
Hi, I'm Queen Ty. I'm repping the 50s.
Hi, I'm Queen Ty, representing the early 40s.
What's up, everybody? I'm Queen Lady B, and I'm representing the late 30s.
Hey, y'all. I'm Queen Nye, representing the early 30s.
Hi, guys. I'm Queen Shay, and I'm representing the Dub Club.
All right, so we're going to hear from our Queen T for our tea time.
Well, y'all know what time it is. Welcome to Tea Time with Queen T. So today we're going to have some chamomile tea. Chamomile tea has health benefits. It helps reduce inflammation. It helps with the treating of cold symptoms, but also it helps with sleep and relaxation. So don't get your tea right now because we don't want you to fall asleep. But let's see what's going on in Queenz Quarters today.
All right, so I hope you fasten your seatbelt because our kings are on here today. And they are ready to share with us. Yes. So we're going to introduce or have our kings introduce themselves right now. The floor is yours, kings.
Hi, I'm King Bernie. I represent the 50s Club.
I'm King Kevin. I'm represent the 40s Club.
I'm King Ty. I'm representing the 40s Club.
I'm King Reggie, representing the early 40s Club as well.
Love and light, everybody. I'm King Corey, and I'm representing the late 30s Club.
All right, so those are our kings, and we are going to flow today. This day, we just going to let this show go where it goes, because we know our kings have been watching our show, and they have been catching up on some of the past previous shows, and I know they have some burning questions for us. So all you kings out there that is not representing here with us right now, your questions will get answered too. Just make sure you put them in the chat, but hopefully they represent what it is you want to ask us as well. So kings, who has the first question for us? Come on, King Kevin. We done talked about this already.
I'll
so
ask.
Call you out. I'm doing it. Let's go.
Hello, Queens. How y'all doing? Just a quick question. I want to ask, what type of men do you expect to be with for the rest of your life?
That's good. That's real good.
Queens weren't ready.
I know, right? Well, for me, I would like somebody to have my back. I'm big on security. And I'm big on having their back as well. As long as we work together, that's what I would like. No matter what, I would like to work together with my man or my king. So security is my big thing.
I'm going to say honesty is my thing. There's a lot of things I could say to this question, but I'm just going to pick one, and I'm going to say honesty is my thing. I got to be able to trust whoever I'm with, whoever I'm spending my days with, my time with, not just trusting with my emotions and my feelings, but trusting with, you know, when we going on our everyday journey here and there. I just got to be able to trust and be honest with me, because I'm an honest and open person. And that's one thing in one of our past recordings that we talked about. And that was one of my pet peeves. I don't do the lying. So as soon as I find out you lying, it's done, it's over. We don't have to talk about it. I'm done. So honesty.
I just want to be with somebody who's mentally and emotionally healed. People crazy. And I'm over being my crazies. Just be healed in Jesus' name. I'm going to just already believe that he's going to be a believer. You don't got to be, you know, where I am spiritually, but believe that there is a God and be healed. Healed.
Yeah. Well, as the resident 20 club member, you know, I don't know about the rest of my life. But I think at my age, I'm just looking for someone that's, if we're picking one thing, ever evolving. We have so much to learn and so much life to see. And I think we have to, you know, me being 20, I'm 24, I don't, at 64, I don't want you to be the same person you were at 24, 44. You know, I want you to learn the life lessons that needs to be learned, that sharpen you and bring you to a higher place in life. Because if I'm learning and I'm growing, I'm maturing, I need you to be doing the same thing so that we're on the same mindset. That's the only way we're going to work out for the rest of our lives. Yeah, so I'll say ever evolving for me.
I have a few things that come to me, but I could just say someone that wants to do life with me, someone who's going to be good at doing life with me, someone who wants to constantly enhance their life, someone that wants to constantly grow in love, because, you know, it seems like love have different levels. So that's about it.
It does.
Yeah.
Who could you expound on that? You know, because I know that that, you know, you may understand what doing life means, but someone who's listening may not understand. So can you kind of unpack that?
That means like going through whatever together, the ups, the downs, the disappointments, the growing, all of that.
That was a good push, Reggie. I appreciated that.
You got it, Cora.
I have a question. My question is, what if the man you're looking for doesn't have all the things you are requiring, expecting? I don't know. What do you do then? Because it's just, I listened to you guys a couple of weeks ago, and if you remember, I was texting in all these questions, and they told me to wait till I came on. My question again is, if there's a list of things you like, and not everything is checked off, what then? And this is for the women who are in, say, 40 and up. That's my question too, because I know when you're young, we have the time, let's say, or we think we do, that we can say, you know what, I'll wait till Mr. Right comes along. What do the sisters do and the queens do?
Well, go ahead, finish the question.
No, that was basically it.
I'm gonna chime in a little bit. It depends on the seriousness of what he's lacking. Like, for example,
that's good.
If he don't have a driver's license at this age, there's a problem.
Girl.
If he's not working, there's a problem. And we know we in a pandemic, but you know, if he don't know how to get some money, you know, hustle, get some money, then there's a problem. Like, certain things gotta be in place at this stage in life. I'm not trying, and I said this on the previous recording, I'm not trying to help a man become. He needs to be already. Because I am already, and he needs to be. So it just depends on what it is that he's lacking.
Follow-up question. So you said I am already. So have you arrived?
No, I'm always forever evolving. So I've never arrived. As long as I'm in a place of learning, I'm always evolving. But when I say arrive, that's knowing who I am. As you know, guys know, it's no secret from the previous recordings. I'm a single woman. Been single for a while. I've gotten to know me. I've gotten to know the things I love, what I don't love. I'm good with being single. It's like, be who you gotta be. Like, and I said this before, be who you want to, whatever you want to attract, you be that first.
Yeah.
So
I have a question.
Is this a space for us to have healthy discourse?
I'm sorry, say that again, Corey.
Is this a space for us to have healthy discourse?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's why you're here.
Yeah,
in other words, can I argue? Can I argue my point? That's what he said. Can you argue?
Right. Because Kev, real quick before you ask your question, I'm sorry. Well, before you ask your question, because I watch and I listen too. My question is, what happens when the man matches all of your boxes, but you don't match all of his?
I was going to touch on that.
Because it's funny. I was watching a comedian a couple of days ago, and he said that, like when men introduce their woman to another man or tell their man, their friends, their male friends, that they have a woman, our first thing is, well, how does she look? You know what I'm saying? When women introduce or tell their friends, their girlfriends, that they have a man, your perspective is, well, what does he do?
Exactly.
So in today's climate, what happens when the man who has been working to establish himself or to reestablish himself has met all of your checks, but his perspective is, you got a pretty face, you got a nice body, but that don't really check all my boxes. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I'm asking is because, to T's point, and to a lot of, ladies' points in general, there are a lot of presuppositions that you guys seemingly have where it's like, I don't know if I'm in, I don't know, but then the question is, what if he checks all of your boxes and then his thing to you is, well, education is important to me. I don't care how long you've been on your job. This matters because there's something that you get from this space that you don't get nowhere else. It doesn't make you smarter. You know what I'm saying? Or this is important to me. What's your personal credit score? You know what I'm saying? Like what assets do you have to bring to the table other than a pretty face? You know what I'm saying? So again,
I think it's important to communicate that, though. I think communication is key, especially in the beginning. If we get to a certain point in our dating, or we're now officially seriously dating, and now you're giving me a checklist, it's like, well, you a little late to the game, buddy. So I think knowing what you want from the beginning and communicating that I'm not going to speak for every man, but the men that I've experienced have a hard time communicating exactly what they want, which leaves room for, error and assumptions. And then things get, signals get mixed and lines get crossed. And now we're at a place of confusion, right? And now feelings are getting hurt. So I think communicating what you want from a woman, and if she's able to deliver those things, if there are things that you're willing to compromise on or willing to give her time to work at. And I also think that, everybody's not for everyone. So if that's the woman that's not for you, another man's trash is another man's treasure, and vice versa. So if that's not the woman for you, then just don't try to change someone to fit your box. Get someone that fits the mold that you are looking for, or reevaluate your stand. If you have too many boxes now, let's reevaluate here a little bit. So, it's all about, there's no black and white. I feel like, I think that there's always going to be gray areas, but I think communication is key in that aspect.
Queen Shay, thank you so much for bringing it out, because I was thinking the same thing. You took every word out of my mouth. I was thinking that, you have to, it might be some things that the man is willing to accept from that woman. There might be some things I may be willing to accept from that man that might not have been on my checklist per se. But I'm just saying, I think that was a great point. I think what you said was important in terms of, it depends on what you're willing to deal with, what you're willing to put up with that person. I don't mean put up with like you're just doing it to be doing it. But like, if you are willing to work with that person, or you okay with them being who they are, there might be some things he might find out about me and he'd be like, oh, that's not what I was looking for. And it's cool, because we're going to find that out while we're dating. So I think the dating process will determine whether or not we are a good fit.
Right. Now, Ty was itching to say something. Look, Lorraine, look.
Make it a long story short, conversation tells everything about the person you're trying to talk to. Like, if you like their conversation, you be yourself with that person you're trying to spend your life with. Because we too old to just be dating now. We trying to go for marriage. Everybody in their 30s and 40s, there ain't no such thing as just dating. You date. It's like you graduate. You be friends first, because you just can't just jump into something and not be friends first. Friends is the key. Friends is longevity, and then you date, and then you go get married. You know what I'm saying? Conversation and communication tells it all. It ain't like what you don't like when this person, what you like in that person. Everybody lacking in something. Everybody. So that call not being perfect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to accept it, because that person gonna bend for you just as well you gonna bend for her. So like, if I like your conversation and you fun to be with, and I can be myself, that's longevity, automatic. Especially if you're somebody that's simple. If you're not selfish and you're a simple, laid-back person and a go-getter, motivate each other, you don't have nothing to lose. You always gonna win. Both of y'all, not just you. Both.
Yeah. Just important to find that person that you're willing to compromise for, and who you think is worth compromising for. You know.
I have a question. Now that we're on this relationship topic, what are y'all deal breakers? King, y'all know ours.
My deal breaker is a woman who thinks she's a man.
Can you elaborate on that?
Meaning like,
because I have a strong personality, so I be needing to know.
Calm down, Bianca.
Actually, when I say that, I mean it's always a argument. It's always a beef. It's like no middle ground, where you always gotta have the last word, or oh, I'm so independent that I don't need this, I don't need that. Men don't like that. We don't like dealing with that type of stuff. You know, you have to be sensitive. You know, you're queens. You have to be soft. You know, it's okay to be tough. You can be tough when it's time to be tough with maybe another female when they get out of line with your king, but not with the king.
So are you saying submissive in a type of way?
Submissive, not meaning go make my plate, no, nothing like that. Meaning the king has his ground and the queen has her ground.
Are you saying more like staying, like you have your lane, she has her lane, and that way y'all can go that way together?
Yes.
But what about the woman that
like, I actually was explaining this to you know, a friend of mine, you know, because she's like that. And she said her man told her, like, you're not a dude, like, relax, you're not a dude. She's like, but I'm so independent, Kev. I've been this way. I said, listen, the king stay in his place, queen stay in her place. I said, but the king bows down to the queen when he has to marry her, right? I said, he gets on his knees, right? She said, yes. I said, because he knows his place. I don't think that a female should ask a man to marry him. I mean, to marry her. You get what I'm saying? It's the king he gets on his knee and he bows down to his queen. So if he knows his place when it comes to that, then the queen should know her place when it comes to trying to boss up on her king. That's a.
So what is our place?
No.
I was about to ask that.
Yeah.
Not meaning like, you know, like, don't try to boss up on your man, because we don't like that.
What does that mean?
What is boss up? I need.
Yeah, what does that mean? What is your definition of that?
Boss up meaning you trying to punk your man. You trying to, you know, like that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Not like I said, when I say be submissive, it's not like I said, go, when I come home, I better have my plate ready. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm talking about as far as like when you have an argument with your man, or you in front of your friends and you trying to like belittle him. No, that's absolutely no. And one more thing for Queen T, you say you don't like men who lie. What if he's lying to surprise you? Maybe throw you a dinner party because, for something special. Maybe you got a promotion on your job and he's trying to tell you like, no, I got to go out and hang out with the boys. You like, he lying. His best friend is my cousin and he's home right now, but he's trying to set stuff up. So what about that?
I mean, that's a whole other ball game. That's a different thing. You got a surprise going on. Eventually, I'll be like, oh, that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? But I don't take nothing like that to heart.
Okay.
We talking about lying about who was laying in the bed next to you. Okay.
Lying about who you are and stuff like that. We ain't talking about no surprise. I want to hear it from both of you. We got non-deal breakers.
No, I was wondering. So just a few things. I think that all of our experiences maybe are layered. And I think all of our experiences are probably unique too. So I just want to name maybe sometimes if we can make a distinction between like what we personally feel versus like what men think and what women generally, because I think it's unfair to the individual experience, because I don't necessarily agree with some of the particulars that you shared, Kevin. And I just want to make sure that even as a Black male energy, that and as a male energy, it's not necessarily that I agree across the board with what men think. I have some individual ideas, and I think that everybody else does too, and I think that we all have unique experiences. So to say that this is what men think or this is what women think denies us the individuality of like our personal experience. Because like just in terms of some of the language that was used to define what makes a woman strong or weak, or what makes somebody soft versus not, or what makes somebody a punk versus what makes them a boss, what makes somebody independent versus what makes them independent. I don't necessarily agree personally. So I think that the words that we use to define our experiences, when we generalize them, they become very dangerous. Because I
agree.
I don't agree with women necessarily being soft.
Yeah.
I don't think that challenging me in certain ways means that she's disrespecting me. I also don't think that her independence is a contradiction to anything that I will offer to the relationship. So there was just a few things that happened that just made me cringe a little bit personally, because I didn't share in those experiences as a Black male. So I just wanted to name that.
And also too, and I'm gonna give. I understand where King Kevin was coming from, but I don't think I would have maybe worded it that way. But what he was saying, what I got from it was that women don't emasculate your men.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I got from it. When he's saying, I don't want you to argue with me in front of my brother and you tell me I make more money than you. That's emasculating your man.
Right.
No matter which way you put it.
Yeah.
Not that you have to stay in your place, but there has to be a decorum of respect.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about respect's supposed to grow. Respect grows as the longer you're together, because now you're seeing the real person. You understand what I'm saying? At one time you wasn't fat. I had a 6-pack when you met me. Now I'm walking around, size 42 pants, but I'm still the great guy I was. I'm just not that person anymore. You understand? I'm physically. So things do change, but I think it has to be a level of respect.
Yeah.
In there.
And Bernie, I appreciate that too, but I think that we have to keep the same energy when it goes the other way too. So when we talk about not emasculating men, we also have to be mindful about the language that we use when we're talking about the female experience also. So
respect is across the board.
No, I agree, but I'm not necessarily trying to challenge, but I think
that's okay.
I think one piece is, we always talk about being mindful about not emasculating men, but oftentimes men are very sexist when we talk about women.
Yeah.
Some of the language that was used when we were talking about women should also be challenged in the same way we don't want to be emasculated. We also need to be mindful about our definitions of independence or being soft or boss up. Something like it has to go both ways. So
I'm so glad you said that, King Corey, because you know what? When you were saying that, when you were responding to Kevin, you know what came to our mind? Do we all have the same definitions of independence?
Right.
Do we all have the same independence of masculinity?
Different.
Everybody's definition, it may be rooted in the same thing, but their perspective may be a little different. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, because as a woman that has been called, too hard or too guarded or too independent, you always want to, it's like, you if you understood my story, you understand why I have to stand on the 2 feet that I stand on, and I'm all for letting a man be a man, and following when the leadership is correct. But when I feel as though something is wrong or you're leading me the wrong way, I have the ability and the right to say so, So I don't look to be argumentative. Have I been in my past? Yes, I was young and I was a little, reckless in the way that I would say things or the way that I would approach certain situations. But I've learned to assert myself without being aggressive, but also trying to get my point across. And I think not all men, but some men have an issue with women being able to voice their opinion correctly and feeling like, oh, we're being nasty or we're being rude or we're being the word that we can't say on air, we're automatically looked at as aggressive when we assert ourselves. And so it's like, just be a lady, and I feel like that's so condescending to us to tell us, just be a lady. And it's like, what does that mean? You want me to cross my hands and sit like this and not sit, so some men have an outdated approach to how women should be. So I understand
we all have that.
But I also get Kevin's, I get his message. I got the underlying message. Was the wording a little? Yes. I got the underlying message.
But
I appreciate
when I said soft, I meant feminine. That's what I meant. But if you like I said, if you know me, then type like Thais knows me, That's what I meant. Not soft like you being a punk. No, not at all. Soft meaning feminine, like you my queen, like soft.
I want to add to Kevin just a little bit. I just want to touch on that just a little bit.
Yeah.
This is something that I talked about before, and as women and as a single woman, a mother of 2, we tend to take on a lot of roles. We're the mom, we're the father, we're the protector, we're everything. So as we talked about before, and I don't know if the ladies and I, we all agree or kind of disagreed a little bit. I do feel like that we all have a place in the sense of there's a role for a woman, there is a role for a man. So, and Kevin, in regards to what you said, I completely agree. And sometimes we haven't learned as women, we're placed in this box, we're so hard, we're so strong, we don't know when to sit back. And that's something that as women, we talked about, we need to work on, because we've been in the role of doing everything. And so now we have to kind of check ourselves with that and step back a little bit, because, we're, and another thing on top of that, we're taking on a lot of weight, because we are playing all the roles. And so the men are definitely needed. They definitely have a place. So we definitely need to, as women, learn how to sit back on some things and know when to speak. And when I say when to speak, like there might be a scenario and you're out in public, it's not the time. Address that when you get home. So I completely understood what he said. And that was something that we talked about, because we do play all these roles. Sometimes we seem as a little too strong. And that's something that we have to work on.
Okay, can I just quickly push back a little bit on Sister T, and then I'll introduce or share what some of my pet peeve. Well, I'm married now, so but I'll in the most ideal situation, I'll tell you what some of my pet peeves are. But my only pushback, and I think that this is what the overarching issue with relationships are. Both men and women at certain times tend to go into relationships with a working context that if I do this, I'll change this. If I do that, I'll change that. If you are, as a man, if you know that your own ideal makeup doesn't create a space where you are comfortable with what is understood to be a very strong-willed, independent woman, then that's not the woman that you need to deal with. Like, I think the issue that we have is that I like you, and some of the things about you that attracted to me, that made you attractive in the beginning, now it's kind of bothering the hell out of me on the back end, you know. And it's like, you either like my swag and you're going to appreciate all of the strength and the femininity that I bring to you, not when we go out on the first date, but when I piss you off and you say, well, grab your feelings, put them in the bag. You knew who I was when we met. You know I told you I love you, but you're not going to create a manipulative tactic that will cause me to change or alter who I am. And I think that that's the challenge on both perspectives, both men and women, or same gender loving, depending on whatever your scope is, because we do live in a very inclusionary space now. So whatever your preference is, I believe one of the challenges that we have is that we're not honest with ourselves. And because we seemingly want what we want, you can push back in a second, Bernie, because we want what we want, then, you know, we'll deal with certain things until the love dynamic has presented itself. And then when you love me, it's like, you know, I really don't like, you know, you smoking cigarettes. And it's like, dude, when you met me, you gave me a light. So why is that
a surprise?
Why is that a surprise now? You know what I'm saying? Like I done came to the cookout and me and your uncle is in the back, you know what I'm saying, smoking joints or smoking Lucy's. And then you're looking like, oh my God, why would you do that here? Dude, I met you and you gave me a light. That's how you got my number. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I think, you know, some of the, you know, challenges that we have, in my very, very humble opinion, is that we allow other scenarios to overshadow how we really feel, because I like you, because I'm attracted to you. So there are certain things that I would seemingly deal with and put up with, you know, until something else happens. So if Bernie, if you want to, you know.
Yeah, because I think we're not being honest here. When you meet somebody and they meet you and you have that cigarette in your hand and you got the weave in and you looking fantastic at this club, church, or wherever you meet at. When we present ourselves, we present what we think. A lot of times, I can't speak for everyone, you present what you think would attract the person. A lot of times we forget who we are, because again, the attraction is like, you know what? If he likes ice cream, I like ice cream. But then that's right. And I'm just saying it. I may not like your mother, but I love your mother when we first meet. Things change. And I think, you know, and I can only speak in my experience. Well, no, I can't. I've got a lot of friends and I can speak about their experiences too. A lot of times when people get together, we don't present our authentic selves. It's like we're selling a car.
Yeah.
You're selling yourself. Come on, let's be honest. You're selling yourself. Brother, men wear the nice suits. You know, they go to the gym when you meet them. You know what I'm saying? Before the woman has children, she's a size 8. After that, she's 16, and you're still expected to love her. See, all these things are things that we don't discuss in the beginning of the relationship. None of those things are discussed.
True.
But I'm attracted to you, and I love your conversation. And what ends up happening is that a year down the line, it's so hard to be honest after you've told so many lies about yourself.
Yes.
Because now you've made yourself a character.
Bernie, we can't see
yourself a character in the situation, and you're playing a role.
Is this the collective's experience? Because I have just never in my life heard of, you know.
Well, Shay, in my very, 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 very humble opinion, there is a drastically different working context for millennials that's different. Who the unique thing about millennials that I appreciate, that's both kind of like a blessing and a curse, depending on where you are, is that you guys are very vocal about how you feel. And you're going to be very, very open as it relates to your perspective, your opinions, and your thoughts. That's the overarching blessing that you guys provide. But the reality of the situation is that those of us who may be a little older, see, like when you meet someone, it's like, well, listen, this is what I'm doing. This is where my life is heading. This is my goals. If this is fine for you, then sure, you can take me out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's the context of who you are as a millennial. Some of the older ones, we have not been taught to be so forthcoming. You know what I'm saying? Because our mindset is, yeah, well, I'm single, I have 3 children, so let my sister watch the kids because, he doesn't necessarily need to come in and see water bottles and formula all over the place.
Okay.
But again, that goes back to the space that Bernie was saying. We seemingly present our representative, and then as time progresses and then the whole love space comes in, then it's like, oh, and I'm saying this, to be facetious. So please, I don't want anyone to take offense to what I'm about to say, but it's like, oh, so that's not your hair. Oh, that's not your real lashes.
And because if I could just interject,
that's good, Reggie. That's good.
Can I come in?
That's not what you like. When I met you, the woman say, "Oh, I'm not really hungry at the restaurant." When y'all been together 8 months, I want to go to the buffet.
Not me. I'm eating.
No, and I'm just no. And even with millennials, because I work with a lot of youth. Again, because the divorce rate is the same for young people as it is for old people, as it is for middle-aged people.
Yes.
So there's obviously a communication problem if you're 20, if you're 40, if you're 90. Yep. So again, we represent ourselves. We don't be honest with the person you're meeting when you first meet them.
Because you're trying to impress them, right?
Of course.
And
that's how peacocks do. Whoever has the biggest feather usually get the best of the peacock.
I won't take that away from the millennials because I have met some that are, now I can only speak for me. What you see right now is what you get from me. I don't present myself in a way that I'm not, because I don't want you asking me for nothing that I ain't willing to give, So you're going to get this natural hair. You're going to get this fresh face. You're going to get this t-shirt and jeans. But that's it. That's just how I was raised, because the woman that came before me, she was that way. But there are people, that do present themselves in a light. And I have unfortunately dated some that present themselves in the best light. But I just feel like it just goes back to causing so much confusion and so much chaos later on down the line. And then it fizzles, and then we have nothing left. And now we left with the question of what was the point in the first place?
Can you stay right there for a moment? Because my question is a follow-up, backing off of what you just shared, what Bernie just shared, and what Brother Reggie has shared just as well. So here's the thing. Can we spend some time really talking about unpacking our vetting process for the people who we eventually end up with? Because my personal experience is that I can tell you about what I don't like with said woman, right? I can talk about all of the different things that she did not meet my expectation. I can talk about all of the reasons why she didn't tickle my fancy anymore. I can talk about what her representative was versus what I ended up with. And for the women that I dated, they can do the same for me as well, because the same way they presented themselves, or their representative, is the same way that I did so also, right? And there were times where they had become dissatisfied with me as well, and we was both sitting there like a lump on the log, like this is not what I signed up for, right?
And you're asking, who is that?
So in that case, how do we not displace it, and how do we not put the onus on the person that didn't wound up being what we wanted, but how can we take ownership for it and say, was our vetting process strong enough? Our vetting process and our discernment, right? Let's add the spiritual. How much do you believe in your vetting process before you end up with someone that winds up not being even marginally what you signed up for in the first place? Because what we can be responsible for is the way that we vet. When we look for a new job, there's a vetting process before we get hired. When we look for a new apartment or a new place to stay, there's a vetting process that happens before. When we apply for credit, there's a vetting process that is in place before they decide to give us credit. So what vetted process do we have to protect ourselves from these types of energies that we don't want to be with?
If I can just interject, I think that I really love that question but I think that sometimes as you get older, some of that stuff you just don't be bothered with. You know, I'm at the stage in my life that I'm not about game. You know, I'm one of these people that I take care of myself, I do for myself, but it's not where I'm not trying to be in a situation where I'm disrespectful to my partner. You know, it's not a situation where, you know, I don't understand what submission is. You know, I grew up in a household, my mother was very submissive to my father, you know, and I learned as a young lady, as a young girl, how you should respect your man out in public. And I taught my children that, you know. However, I think it's a good idea. I really like the idea of, you know, when you get past a certain age, you just don't play them kind of games. You know, to me, I just think it's just, you don't play them kind of games when you get a certain age. You straight up, because that's not about the craziness to you. You pass that.
Yeah.
But I'm in my 60s, so.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I think you start knowing at the age of like 35, 40 what you want and what you don't want. You know what I'm saying?
You don't play them kind of games.
Because if you don't know at that age, I'm just gonna be lost for quite some time.
So I'm sorry, Corey. I just want to speak for the women that I've experienced, you know, my friends, my aunts, my cousins, my mom, you know, even my mom, you know, myself. I think women are really blessed with an intuition that men just don't possess, right? But
I agree.
Unfortunately, because of how we feel emotionally about the people that we're interested in, the people that we say that we love, even our friendships, our children, whatever, because of the love that we feel for them, or even if we're not at a place of love in the relationships that we're forming, but just a general interest and attraction, we kind of blind ourselves to the red flags that are in front of us and the things that we know we don't like, but we're like, you know what, let me just wait it out. Or, you know, maybe I didn't give him a chance, so let's keep trying it out. And now we find ourselves in that pitfall because all of the things that we ignored, we're now having to deal with, and we made a mess. So our vetting process, you know, we say objectively, you know, this is what I want. I don't like this. I'm not going to deal with this. And then once we get in that situation and we got puppy dog eyes and we're just lost in love, now subjectively we're like, you know, maybe it'll work. Maybe we can. And so I feel like women are strong in the vetting process. We kind of weaken ourselves and our sensibilities later on down the line. And we end up.
Now I have to say something. I have to say something about that. Wait a minute, Bernie. I know, but girl, I can't hold this one. I gotta let this one out. I just want to know if that's the case. If women are so great in this vetting process, why most of them are having babies by men with no job? Why you say, oh, I'm
see, but that's the thing.
But then I hear, oh my God, you don't want to work. Well, he never worked. And a lot of times you hear from mothers who are no longer with the fathers. He didn't do anything for the baby, but he didn't do anything for you, and you had a baby.
Wow.
So
But
if
that's
I
the
just want to know,
thing.
I just want to know what's this vetting process. Maybe I missed that part.
I'm saying we know objectively. In the beginning, we're gonna say what we don't want, what we don't like. Then once we are attracted to the man, we weaken our sensibilities later on down the line. You're talking about having babies. We ain't having babies on the first meet. We done seen a couple things, been around the block. Now we got our feelings involved. We done made a oopsie. Because we weakened our because we weakened our sensibilities. Now we're in a place where we got to deal with the things that we wasn't willing to deal with in the very beginning because I like him, so let's just try it out.
I have a question.
I have a question.
This is to the whole everybody in the room. Are you still with the same person? Like your first love? Anybody?
No.
Oh. So we all made oops.
Yeah.
Nobody's psychic. Nobody's
This ain't
psychic.
make no oopsie babies. That's all. I didn't make no oopsie babies.
But when you say your first love, are you talking about like that high school play when we really didn't know what was going on?
when you say, okay, this is the person I'm going to be with for the rest of my life, and you're not with them, I mean everybody made an oopsie. People make mistakes. Sometimes you're with people and it's just a learning lesson. That's it. So
that's true.
Nobody's a psychic. Nobody's going to be with nobody's going to know this person right here and be with for the rest of my life. That's back in the day.
That's why we gotta live to make mistakes. It ain't always perfect. You gotta live to make mistakes. That's what it's about.
Yeah. Me?
I have a question.
I'm 45, no children.
For me,
we keep talking about these oopsies and children. How do y'all feel about a woman waiting to have sex before marriage?
Oh, wait. That's a good one. But Doc, what was you gonna say before we switch?
Look at everybody's face.
Doc, what was you gonna say before we switch gears?
No. Go ahead.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
What if you get married? Then it's terrible.
Yes, Doc. I want to hear it, Doc.
I was just gonna say that a lot of women, they date for hope, hoping that this is the one, hoping that this is the whole fantasy, because the 40 to 50-year-olds, we had a different upbringing than the 20 and 30-year-olds, or maybe 20s, because we saw our parents, we saw marriage, we saw family, we saw all those things. So we kind of, when we're dating, we're not dating just a date, we're dating with hope to one day get married, hope to one day have a kid and have this beautiful life that society says that we should have. So that's all I wanted to say. So some things we're going to accept that we know we shouldn't accept. We're going to be in relationships longer than we shouldn't be in. But then it takes time to realize that. And if oopsie babies happen, it just happened. But, our lights have to come on when they're ready to come on, not when anybody else tell us when the light should come on. But it happens. I mean, women love hard. We try to hang in there as long as we can. Because in the midst of feelings are in there. We don't want to get hurt, but we don't want to hurt other people as well. That's just how we are. So you're saying, it's really dating with hope.
Men are the same way. When we date,
I can't tell.
Listen, when we date, we're hoping to have the same situation. Yeah, me.
Oh,
yes, me.
Yeah.
Yes, I want children. I don't have children yet.
But
Never
also
been
too,
married.
I hate to hear women say, "Oh, women love hard, men don't." Men love hard.
We cry.
We know,
but they're just not able to communicate.
Y'all cry when it's too late to cry.
Wait, what you say, Queen? Queen, not what you say?
Y'all cry when it's too late to cry. Like, go ahead, y'all do not cry.
How many relationships you been in?
Oh, Jesus.
I'm 30, so I did have some experience.
No relationship.
So
not dating. Right?
I'm gonna say this. That's no comparison. You know what I'm saying? Women do love harder than guys. You know what I'm saying? That's I've seen a lot of guys treat females like trash, and they so in love with them, they don't know what to do with themselves. So I could vouch for that women love harder than guys. But that's when you start getting older, that's when men start coming in, start loving harder when they get a certain age, when they really want to be with that person.
Well, we hope so. But Corey, you got to turn your volume up because I be feeling like you're about to drop gems and we can't hear you.
I'm really sorry about this. I'm on my brother's computer. I'll try to amplify my voice even more, but I've done what I can to turn to like amplify. I can't do anymore. I'm really sorry about that.
But we can hear you now. So that's
Okay. I think for me though, like I'm not the same person every time, every relationship. Like if you talk to different women that I've dated, they will give you, there's some common denominator things that you'll get across the board, but you'll also get different reflections of my person depending on what space, place, and energy that I had at that particular time.
Yeah.
The reality of it is this as well, right? There's been many instances where I've been exactly what the woman will allow. Right? I didn't always give my best because I knew that I didn't have to, because I knew that her vetting process wasn't smooth enough. She didn't ask enough questions, and I knew that I could get away with some stuff because she wasn't intentional about what she wanted. I took it and I ran with it, and I've done that more times than I can count. Right?
Wow.
And I've also had different experiences where women knew precisely what they were here for and precisely what they weren't here for. And I was like, I can't pull that stuff that I did with the last one.
Right.
Yeah. She's not having it. She's very sure about what it is that she wants. She's very sure about what she's here for. And she's also very sure about what she isn't here for. And if I value her enough, then I can make a decision if I really want to walk the straight and narrow or not, but she made it clear. And so for me, like it's completely different. I have not been integral every time. I haven't been honest every time. I haven't been upstanding every time. You talk to some women, they'll be like, oh nah, you need to keep it where he is. And I'll talk to some other women that I dated, and they will say it didn't work out between us, but he was an upstanding guy.
Can I ask a question?
Wait.
So that has to be said instead of you already knowing that. I don't want you to cheat. I don't want you to lie. I want you to be responsive. I want you to communicate. I want you to be loving. I want you to be the same way when we're together as when you're outside. That has to be communicated. That's not just already known.
Yeah, I can't.
Yes,
some
it
women
does,
it does.
because you don't know how
I can't speak for anybody else. I can't speak for anybody else. And
Yeah,
I want to show up in this space and make sure that I'm speaking uniquely for myself. There was times where I needed, check this out. For me, any woman that I date, it behooves them and me for them to be very clear about what they're here for and about what they're not, right? Because to me, dating means that I'm allowed, I can explore. And dating to me also means like, the same way you're trying to figure me out, I'm trying to figure you out as well. And for myself, like, I need you to just be, I need you to front load. I need you to be very clear about what your expectations are, because they're genuinely not the same. The reason why that needs to be communicated is because, check this out. I have genuinely dated women that was just like, I don't care what you do as long as I don't find out. I've also dated some women that say, no, I don't want you to do it at all. And then I've dated some women that's just like, listen, like, if you do it, just make sure that I'm allowed to do it too.
Yeah.
And then I've dated some women that said, it's fine if we do it together. Right? The clarity is important. Right?
You know what? I appreciate you, King Courtney, for that. I really do, because I saw Jock's face, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, she about to go in. But you know what? It was his experience, and he was speaking from his experience. So that's
my best friend, everybody.
Yeah, we like him. We like him.
Yes, and so I appreciate you sharing that from a male's perspective. And sometimes if we just learn to listen as women, we could pick up some jewels along the way. Because I know there's a lot of women that listen to this show, and now you're getting it from a male perspective. So I thank you for that.
And I also feel like
I have a question. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to say, I also feel like it's important to know that just as the male experience is unique, so is the women's. So we on here, we believe in monogamy, right? We believe just me, that's it, nobody else, anything else. After that, it's betrayal. But there are women out there that really they really don't care. They really don't care. They don't, some because they don't value themselves enough to say, this is what I want, because they want the man to say. Some because they're just so confident in themselves that I'm secure in my spot. So if you go out here and do that, as long as you come back to me and do what you're supposed to do. So every woman's experience is different, you know? And so I think he's just experienced a plethora of different women that expect different things from him. And he took advantage of the situation at hand. And that's honest. And we appreciate.
Did he take advantage though?
Okay,
not taking advantage in a bad way. You know, being advantageous doesn't necessarily have to have a negative connotation. Taking advantage of the situation.
Because I was gonna speak to
Yeah,
that.
no.
Well, my question briefly is what is, because we dealt with, or we were asking, what are some of our like
deal breakers?
Deal breakers. I struggle again. Well, I don't struggle now, but you know, just in conversation, I struggle in communication with women who want something new, but they bring old ideologies and pains and hurts into a new situation. Like at the end of the day, you know, and this does not apply to everybody, so please don't take this as a general statement. But there are spaces where I've spoken and counseled some women in relationships who their perspective was, well, when I met guy number 2, you know, I basically came into the situation where it was like, okay, so like, let's take Queen T as an example of what she said, not her personally. All right. So yeah, you know, so how you doing? And the first date, so forth and so on. Or it's like, yeah, well, listen, I don't like liars. I need to know so forth and so on. I need to know blah, blah, blah. I'm not dealing with so forth and so on. And while all of that is admirable, the psychosocial undertones of that space suggest that wherever you are right now, it is centralized on things that have already happened to you. So you don't go into a new relationship with a clean sheet of paper saying that, listen, I'm going to allow whatever this space to evolve and develop on their own. But you go into your new relationship saying, if he says something slick, just like Raheem said, I am through with him. And my question is, if you're looking for something new, okay, again, not trying to be overtly spiritual, but the scripture says, how can you put new wine in old wine?
Come on.
Because when you deal with the fermentation, the fermenting process, the wine has to settle. And in the settling space of the wine, it is the wine skin to expand. So if you're trying to settle something new in the framework of something old, then you are dooming your relationship to burst and spill out before you had an opportunity for something to act, for your relationship to kind of settle. You know what I'm saying? So how open are you, women, to say that I'm not nullifying the pains and the experiences that I've had in my life, but if I want this wine and this relationship to be what it can be, then I have to go into this space saying that I can only put something new and house it in something new.
Can I address that for a minute? I
Sure.
want to address that since you did use me, Reggie. So you know I gotta address it. But I've been single long enough to heal and to recover from any past relationships and dealing. So my idea, what I'm bringing new is I'm new, because there was a time as a younger person that I would address that situation with the same reaction. So if you cheat, I'm going to cheat. If you do it, I'm going to do it. Instead of me just cutting that relationship off and saying, this is not for me, let me move forward. So my thing is, you say, I'm well aware of that scripture. So I'm the new creature. I'm the new creature coming with a new attitude. And the new attitude, if I'm going to come in honesty and with honesty, I want you to be honest. So that's where the difference come in, where I will want to do what you did. They say to get over somebody, you got to get on top of somebody, or however that thing go. But at the end of the day, I would do the same thing you doing. But no, I wouldn't do that now. So I'm coming with honesty. So
And
I'm the
also,
new creature.
And not to cut you off, Queen T, but I also kind of see what you and King Reggie are saying. But what you said in the spiritual example analogy, I would use the psychological analogy, because because again, it just behooves me that people, when we have conversations, we act like we done had 18 sessions with Alana Van Zandt. We done been to therapy. We done worked on ourselves. And just because you've been single 5 years don't mean you worked on anything.
That's right.
You don't mean you addressed any of those issues that you had. You may have addressed with the thing that made you feel bad. They had nothing to do with him or her. So again, when I hear people talk, and you're talking to a person who's been in deep therapy for 5 years, and I have peeled back some layers on that onions, what we call life and experience. So again, I'm talking to professionals and dealing with the public in the community. A lot of times we are ahead of ourselves and saying, you know what, I'm going to be a new me. I'm done with this. Like they think they can listen to a Whitney Houston song, and a lot of times the people think they've gotten better. They listen to a CD and they act like they've gotten better, when the fact of the matter is you have to work. And I cannot say this enough. You have to work on yourself.
Hello, kings and queens. I know you're like, wait. We are going to continue this good conversation. Our topic, questions from the king. We are going to continue this next week. We have a 2-part special. You got a chance to see this first part, but we have to break and go into some new things. So give you a whole week to think about it and come back and see us Wednesday, the 21st, to continue our discussion with the kings. We thank you so much for hanging in here with us. We guys have been nothing but supportive, and for that, hats off. We are forever in your debt, and we thank you guys for your consistent support and everything. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. And if you have any questions, remember, send them to queensquarters@gmail.com. Okay? Once again, we thank you so much. See you next Wednesday. You have experienced the Queen's Quarters, where there is a king and a queen in you.